Have you ever been giving a presentation and your audience just doesn't seem into it? You're up there talking and your audience is just looking at you sort of dead-eyed. Yeah, I've been there. So, let's talk about how to fix that. My name's Evie Martell. I'm a senior 4-H'er from York County, and today we're going to talk about how to give a presentation like a conversation. So, what does like a conversation mean? Like a conversation, or giving a conversational presentation, means getting your audience engaged in your presentation by giving them opportunities to interact. To think about this, let's think about the power dynamics of a presentation. Usually in a presentation, the presenter has the power. The presenter has the PowerPoint or the podium, and they're standing up there giving the audience all of their knowledge. And the audience is supposed to sit there quietly and listen. But in a conversational presentation, the presenter takes some of that power and gives it back to the audience so that they can really engage with the presentation. This helps them think more critically about the presentation and really get into it. So, why conversational presentations? It helps audiences engage. It helps them get to know what you're talking about with real depth. There was a study that was done that says that only 4% of people report remembering one-way presentations. That's crazy. If I have a group of 8 4-H'ers and I'm giving them a one-way presentation, only 2 of them, on average, are going to come out of there remembering what I talked about. I don't want that. I don't want only 2 people to remember. I want the whole audience to remember. So, we give conversational presentations. One of my favorite examples of this is a planetarium show that I put on for a bunch of kindergarteners. We were doing a community service project with a rocketry team that I was on, and my job was to put on a planetarium show. I had a projector and it had pictures of planets and stars, and to figure out how to get the kids to want to listen to me, I got a bunch of space trivia facts, and I made them guess the answers. I said things like, what's the hottest planet? And the kids would have to try and figure out from what I've already talked about on the planets, which one was the hottest. The answer is Venus, just by the way. And by the end of the planetarium show, almost all of them could tell their adults a couple facts about space. So, how do we recreate this? How do we make our presentations conversational? Let's talk about the steps. First, we have step 1, the basics. Step 2, the upgrades. And step 3, engagement. Step 1, the basics. Eye contact. When you're giving a presentation, you don't want to look down at the floor like this, and you don't want to just be looking at your PowerPoint the whole time like that. You instead want to be looking at your audience. So get nice wide sweeps of the room. If you pick one person and stare at them the whole time, that's going to be really uncomfortable because you're just staring at somebody the whole time. So instead, like I said, nice wide sweeps, linger for a minute and then move on. Our posture. This is not presenter posture. This is I want to go home because I'm a turtle posture. We don't want to have I want to go home because I'm a turtle posture because we want people to listen to us. So instead, pretend there's a string running from the top of your head all the way up. That's making your spine get really, really long, and your shoulders go back and your head slightly up, but really just looking at your audience. And this is posture for a presentation. We want to project our voice. If you're in a really small room with a couple of people, you can get away with talking at normal volume. But if you're in a really big room with a lot of people, like I was in this picture where I was presenting at NASA, you want to talk loudly, but you don't want to shout. Shouting is going to put strain on your voice and your throat, and it's going to put strain on your audience's ears, because who likes listening to people shout at them? I don't. So instead, you want to take nice deep breaths down in your belly and talk from there. I know I'm not explaining how to project very well, but go ask your local music teacher. They'll have some better advice. And then visual aids. You want to have visual aids, a PowerPoint, a poster board, a prop, whatever suits your fancy and gets your point across, especially if it's a little bit fun. So, now, how do we make these skills better? How do we build upon those basic skills of giving a presentation And step two, the upgrades. Gestures. Use your hands. They're part of your body for a reason. Talk with your hands, especially if there's like a symbol or gesture you can do to show that you're transitioning between points. Besides that, don't use them too much. Don't like always be moving them, because that's going to be a little distracting. You see how that's a little distracting? Don't do that. Keep them nice. Keep your gestures not planned, but keep them good. Movement. So some people like to move when they give presentations, and that's really normal. That's really natural. We like moving, especially when we're a little bit nervous. So just keep your movement coordinated, basically. If you're changing your point, you can walk across your stage or just move a little bit. Don't just stand there staring at your audience with your knees locked. That's going to have you pass out. That's going to be a little creepy. Just move a little bit. Be a little bit of a human being. You know. Your volume. So, like I said, you want to be nice and loud so your whole audience can hear you for the whole time. But there are some moments, especially emotionally impactful moments, when you're going to want to be a little bit quieter. You want the whole audience to hear you, but you want to move just a little bit softer. And there are going to be some moments where there's something really exciting happening and you want to get really, really loud. And that's okay. Fluctuate your volume as your presentation demands. Eye contact, but better. Like I said, don't pick one person and stare at them. Make nice wide sweeps of the room. But sometimes there's going to be a moment with emotional impact, and you might want to pick one person and just look at them for a second before moving on. Our visual aids, our PowerPoints, our poster boards, especially the PowerPoint. If you have a PowerPoint, we don't want paragraphs. See how there are bullet points? We want to keep it to bullet points. If you have a big long paragraph, nobody's going to be reading that, and the people who are reading that aren't going to be listening to you. So instead, you want to have nice bullet points. And besides that, you, the presenter, shouldn't be reading a paragraph off a slide, because if you're reading a paragraph off a slide, your audience could just do that at home. If you're not adding anything to it, why am I here? So instead, have nice bullet points that just kind of cue you at what you need to be talking about. And then our hook. You want to have a really good hook that grabs people onto what we're talking about. This can be a story, this can be a statistic, this can be a question. I did this at the beginning. I said, have you ever given a presentation where your audience wasn't into it? That will get people thinking about your presentation before you even start talking. And now, step 3, we learned the upgrades. Now we engage. So, keep interaction structured. Interaction doesn't mean that people are just going to be yelling at you while you're on the stage the whole time. That's going to get messy, that's going to get hard to understand what you're talking about and what the audience needs from you. So instead, give them opportunities. Tell them, this is when you interact with me. I'm asking for interaction. And then the rest of the time, let them sit and think about what you're talking about. So, my favorite ways of interaction, call and response. I do this at the beginning of every in-person presentation I give. This can be a standard social norm, it can be a question, it can be anything. But my favorite is, good evening everybody, and then I have everybody say it back. Another one that I can do, and I especially do with kids, is I say for, you say H. It's just fun, it gets them moving. Which brings us into our next point, get up and moving. If your audience doesn't seem like they're super engaged, make them move a little bit, make them get up, make them spin around, make them fix their posture. This is really going to help them, because when they sit back down, they're more ready to listen. It's like when you get your wiggles out when you were a little kid. You know, when you were in school and everybody was a little too hyped up, so your teacher was like, okay, let's all stand up and get our wiggles out. Same kind of concept. Storytelling. Storytelling is often better than just giving statistics. If you're talking about a presentation where a lot of numbers are involved, if you're just saying, so 20% of people say this, and 30% say this, and 10% say this, blah, 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 it's going to get really boring. It's not going to be really fun. It's going to be kind of hard to digest. So instead, tell a story about it. Tell a story to keep your presentation moving. Ask questions. Ask your audience questions. Give them things to think about. Give them something to take away from your presentation so that they go away thinking and they don't just go away. And then you also have to think. Presentations are a two-way street. It's not just me up here talking to you. It's me interacting and responding to my audience. And then my last and most important point is have passion for your topic. If you're doing a contest like we are, and you have two possible topics, and one of them you're really super passionate about, and the other you know is going to look really good on the rubric, go with the one you're passionate about. Your passion will show, people will appreciate it, and you're going to have a much better time doing your presentation. So, in summary, do you want your audience to enjoy and remember your presentation? If you do, you have to remember the basics, the upgrades, and how to engage your audience. So, keep your knees bent and your energy high. Thank you all so much for being part of my 4-H journey. Here are my sources. I've got harvard.edu, public speaking tips, what is conversational presenting, and then a training article, and Forbes.com. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.